as Scholar-Based Society IAY, and I'm delighted to be your host for today's insightful and inspiring session. Today's webinar is being organized in collaboration between SBS IIU Student Chapter and SBS UET Texila Student Chapter. And we are incredibly honored to welcome our exceptional guest speaker, Ms. Ikra Ali, who is currently a PhD candidate in computer science at Queen Mary University of London, UK, funded by a fully funded merit-based scholarship. About our esteemed speaker, Ms. Ikra Ali has previously completed her Master of Engineering in Artificial Intelligence and Natural Language Processing from Nara Institute of Science and Technology, Japan, through the prestigious MEXT Japanese Government Scholarship. Her journey is a source of inspiration for all the students aiming to pursue higher education abroad and achieve academic excellence through fully funded opportunities. Now, without any further delay, let's begin our session. Over to you, Ms. Ikra Ali.
Do you want me to turn on the camera or is it fine without that?
Ma'am, it's your decision.
Okay, thank you.
Hi, ma'am.
Well, thank you for such a good introduction. I never knew I did so much, but thank you for that. Hey everyone, as she said already, the host said already, my name is Ikra and currently I am a PhD student at Queen Mary University of London. Honestly, it has been a roller coaster ride, but I will not say it was very difficult. If you know what you have to do and what you have to achieve, it becomes pretty easy. And I had very great seniors who were there to guide me for the scholarships. Initially, I got the interest because one of my seniors, she went to Japan on a fully funded scholarship. And then I contacted her saying, like, as all of us do, that, oh my God, how did you got the scholarship? Can you guide me a bit? And as being a good senior, she guided me about how we can approach the professors or how we can look into different scholarships in different countries. So I went ahead, applied to China, South Korea, and Japan. Initially, I wanted to be in the South Asian community and countries. So I applied there. I got the positive response from China, South Asia, South Korea, and Japan as well. So I went for Japan because then Japan is more popular in IT when it comes to natural language processing, which is my forte and my field. And the professor which I was working with, he was a well-known professor in Japan. He got his degree from US, and it's a big list of achievements that he had. And for me, it was good to be under his guidance because I could see my future. I could see that I would be able to learn better if I'll be in his lab. I'll get into that later on. So our topic again is today from Japan to UK, winning the scholarships. It's not about just MEX scholarship, how we can pursue or how we can get any kind of scholarship with a minimal knowledge we have. Most of people, they don't even know how to approach a professor. They just know, oh my God, there is certain scholarships. For example, MEX is a global scholarship of Japan. And then there is UK's Commonwealth scholarship, there is Erasmus, or there is this kind of scholarships which everybody is aware of, and they are more competitive. But then there are some other scholarships which are university recommendations. You get recommended by the professor, or the professor would give your name to the university or will give you the funding. So these are the different routes one can go for, but most of the people, they are not aware of it. So I'll try to discuss those. I don't believe in making longer presentations, so pardon me. You can ask me the questions and I'll be more than happy to answer. Well, that's the same introduction. I am currently doing my PhD. It's specifically in computer science, but the forte is AI and robotics. I usually work on training the robots for the mental health and also for the different kind of healthcare problems. I did my master's from Nara Institute of Science and Technology in Japan from 2022 to 2024. Then I was fortunate enough to be granted as a research assistant at a University College Dublin from 2024 to 2025. I was also awarded with the Google Conference Travel Grant. It's one of the top grant by the Google if you are a researcher and if they sponsor you for your round trip. And I was fortunate enough to attend a conference in Italy based on the conference grant given by Google. Also, meanwhile, I was in Japan. I did my internships in summer, which was in Fujitsu AI Research Lab, one of the most famous lab in Japan, and also it has different branches in different countries, so it's very famous there. Then I also did my second internship in Fusik in my second summer in Japan, since I was there for 2 years. So two internships during the summers that I have spent there. I have also listed my profiles. You can look into my Google Scholar to see what kind of research I do. Right now, it's pretty much isolated there, but still there are some papers you can look into that. And I have also linked my LinkedIn account. If you have any other questions, if you were not able to ask me during this session, you can just drop me a message and I'll be more than happy to respond, or if it's a valid concern. Well, if you get a scholarship, you don't just go there for study. You go there to experience the multicultural environment and multi-stream research, and to like different people see a same problem in a different way, and it's very fascinating to see how different people have different thought processes and how they're pursuing different problems. And you sometimes you also learn from them, and sometimes they learn from how you approach problems. So starting from very first day of me being in Japan to graduating from Japan, it was a beautiful journey. And exploring Japan, then going to Queen Mary as a PhD student, and this has been, I guess, the 5th month I am in UK. And well, it's pretty much good here as well. For the routes for MEXT scholarship, let's just get into the MEXT scholarship, which is a very common and popular scholarship of Japan, and it has a lot of advantages. I was able to secure this scholarship through the guidance of my seniors, giving the regards to the people who actually deserve it. Basically, MEXT scholarship actually has two routes, which is university recommendation and embassy recommendation. The path that I chose was university recommendation, but it's okay. We can choose our life as well. We can work in Pakistan, which is also a very good option, I believe. I was working in Pakistan as a business analyst before going to UK or before going to Japan. So it was also a very beautiful life. It depends on people's preferences, I believe. For the university recommendation, there are different ways, but the one I did was I approached the professor first. And this is the most common one. You have to, for the university recommendation track, you have to approach the professor first. What does it mean by approaching the professor? So it doesn't mean just spam the professor with your emails. No, just drop a simple first email with like heading or subject like prospective master student that you want to pursue master. This itself says. Then in the in your body of email you have to write, oh my hello, my name is whatever your name is, and then your education, and then your forte, and if you have some final year project, that if you have some publications you can mention those, some internships which you feel would be beneficial, you can mention those along with resume. Just send it to a professor. If the professor, if suppose the professor is interested in your profile, he will ask you to give some sort of proposal, that what do you want to pursue in masters. Keeping in mind, make sure you have some knowledge of what you want to pursue, and you, in order to write a proposal, make it appealing in a way that your undergrad final year project is relevant to your master's project. For example, in my case, I did my bachelor's from UET Narwal. I know most of people are like, why did you did your bachelor's from UET Narwal? But I mean, I don't think so. University matters. Your GPA does matter for the scholarship, but then university does not matter. Your knowledge, your skills, and especially for AI and computer science field, your skills matter. So I crafted my email with a way like prospective master students. Hello, professor. My name is Ikra, and currently I'm pursuing my bachelor's in computer science at University of UET Narwal, and blah blah blah. My GPA is this. My final year project was something which I mentioned, and then I want to pursue this particular topic in your lab. Given every professor has their own lab and they have their own web page, you can look into their pages that what kind of research they do. They will have list of students which are already studying there. You can look into their profiles, like the students profile as well, that what kind of research the students are doing in their lab currently, and then craft your proposal based on their work. Don't just go like blindly, oh, I want to work, but you don't even know what you want to work with them. So that's the important thing. Give your CV, your research proposal, and transcripts if possible, if you have. And then, if the professor find your profile interesting, they will ask you for the informal interview. Slash, it could be formal as well. Depends on professor to professor. My professor was very chill, so it was kind of a formal, informal discussion along with some formal touches. Like he would ask me, oh, what kind of research you are currently doing, how you are doing it, or what kind of things you are using or tools you are using. So it goes with that. It's kind of informal, but depends on a professor. Then during that meeting, ask the professor for the letter of recommendation that, hello, professor, I would like to have a letter of recommendation in order to pursue my master's or PhD in your lab. What does the letter of recommendation would do? Well, as it's a university recommendation route, so this letter of recommendation would add the weightage. It's very important. If the professor gives you a letter of recommendation, it means he's referring you for a scholarship, and the university would recommend you further to the MEXT based on the letter of recommendation from the professor. Once that is done, if the professor agrees, you have to submit all your documents either to the lab, and then lab will submit it to the university or directly to the university. It depends on university to university. For example, in my university, I have to send all my documents through FedEx to my lab, and then they submitted my documents to the university. But then in Kyoto University or Tokyo University, my friends, they're studying there. In their case, they have to send all their documents directly to the university along with the letter provided to them by the professor. Once you submit all your documents, I will discuss what kind of documents these are in the later slides. You have to go through the entrance exam. Again, the entrance exam depends on university to university, but in my case, or the most common ones are, you have an exam of maths, which is pretty easy. It's more like a formality, I would say. If you are able to get the letter of recommendation from the professor, the entrance exam is more like a formality. And then there would be a panel of professors, for example, 3 4 professors. They will ask you different questions regarding your research proposal. So make sure your research proposal is technical and it's relevant to the professor's lab, so that he can make sure that you are in the top list. You get the good scores. um, Also, again, the entrance exam depends on the university. My university exam was more like a formality, but then, for example, Kyoto University, they takes the entrance exam very seriously, and they don't want you to present it online. You have to be in Japan in order to present the entrance exam, and for that they can, give you some sort of letter which you can give to embassy to get the visa for maybe 1 month or so. So it depends on university again. In my case, I gave my entrance exam online, so it was kind of chill in that case. This is a path I chose, but there's another path which I guess most of the people are aware of. Most of the people are not aware of university recommendation track, which is very weird to me, because embassy recommendation I feel is more difficult and more competitive, because in the whole Pakistan they will choose maybe 2 or 3 people. The embassy of Japan in Pakistan, they will just choose 2 or 3 people for the scholarship, but for the university recommendation route, every university have some quota for our country. For the low the underdevelopment countries, they have some quota, so we have more chances in university recommendation track. But either way, for the embassy recommendation track, the process is sort of similar. You have to submit all your documents to the embassy through postal mail and email. Then you have to, if you get shortlisted based on your documents by the embassy, they will email you, and then you have to give the entrance exam in Islamabad, in the university, in the center. You have to give English, maths, and Japanese exam. Japanese is not the priority. You should pass English and maths exam. Even if you don't do well in Japanese, it's fine. But if you do well, that's a plus point. You might have more chances then. And once you pass that exam, you have to go ahead with the embassy interview, which is a bit difficult and tricky since there are so many people who are applying for 2 or 3 posts. So they would ask you several questions regarding your proposal, how you would culturally fit in Japan, given we don't have language proficiency. When it comes to me, I cannot speak Japanese really well. So they will ask you, if you cannot understand or if you cannot speak Japanese, how would you be able to survive there? So your answers should be based on these kind of things, that, oh, it's okay, I'm a person who learns faster, or I like to, explore different kind of cultures, that should not be a problem with me. So these kind of answers you have to give. And then about your research proposal, which you should be very much aware of. After that, the route again becomes the same. If you pass the embassy interview, they will ask you to list 3 universities where you want to, get your admission. For that, you have to again get the letter of recommendation from the professor, pass his interview, give the, entrance exam, and then finally get into the university. So it's a very tiring route, I feel. Again, you have to go through the same route. That's why I feel going through the university recommendation is a bit easier than embassy recommendation, because they will give you 3 chances, and if you don't get a professor by that time, you will not get the scholarship. Your eligibility requirements, your GPA should be 2.30 out of 3 in the Japanese scale. For the Pakistani, it is 3.30 out of 4. You should have 16 years of schooling for masters and 18 for doctoral. Also, for me, since I was pursuing master there, I was able to secure my PhD along with that. Similar, like I extended my MEXT scholarship for the PhD as well, but then I got the offer in UK, and I felt studying in a English community would be much useful for me in the future run. But you can also extend your masters to PhD later on. It's very easy. It depends on your professor. If he's satisfied with your progress, he will just recommend you for the PhD. And it's a very smooth process. It just takes maybe 1 month or so, and you just have to give one entrance exam, which is again a formality, because your professor knows and he wants you in the lab. So it becomes very easy route. And students can apply in the last year of their bachelor's or master's, depending on which field they are going for, which education they are going for. You should have your graduation certificate. If you don't have it, your transcripts are also fine, and you can give your expected graduation certificate. But once you are in the university, they will ask you to show the graduation certificate in person there. So that you should be aware of your language requirements. There is no hard and fast language requirement. Some universities do ask for English language certificate, but some of them are okay with your university providing a letter that you have studied your 16-year or 18 years of education in English. So it goes by university to university again. You do not have any hard and fast rule of Japanese language. For me, I was alien to Japanese language, honestly. Who studies Japanese? We do not. So it's okay if you don't know anything about Japanese language or Japanese culture. What are the benefits? You will get good amount of scholarship or stipend for the masters and doctoral, and they will waive off your entrance fee, your tuition fee. You do not have to pay for that. They will give all your travel expense from Pakistan, and from Pakistan to Japan, and then from Japan to back to Pakistan. It depends on you if you want to come back or not after your degree. You have 3 or 4 months, I guess 6 months to look for the job, and it's pretty easy to look for the job if you have Japanese language skills. Uh, then some basic documents. You will have to fill a MEXT scholarship form, which usually asks about your name, your CNIC, or your passport numbers, your educational background, like from starting till the end. Then you have to submit your medical certificate, like your eyesight is okay, or you have any problem, or these kind of things. And then your graduation certificate, if not expected graduation certificate, your detailed marks sheet, basically your transcript, your research plan, recommendation letter from your dean of university or president or HOD, somebody who is like at the managerial position. Your professor cannot give you a letter of recommendation. Your passport copy, and then if you have some research achievements, you can mention them as well, or give them as well as a document. Well, my experience on the UK merit-based scholarship, honestly, it was pretty much the same. The way I approached the professor in Japan, I did the same, honestly. I approached the professor, I saw the opening, Since I was collaborating with one of the professor in UK, he told me, Ikra, why don't you apply in UK for the scholarship? And I was like, I'm not sure. I don't want to go through this Commonwealth rule and blah blah blah. And he's like, no, I know some professor. That professor is looking for a PhD student, and I feel you would be a good fit. Why don't you drop an email? And that's what I did. I dropped the professor email with all my profile, my CV, and then if I had publications, 2 or 3 publications at that time in my master's, so I mentioned those, and then I had landed myself an interview with the professor. It was a very informal interview, getting to know each other, like what kind of research I am interested into and what kind of researcher the professor is looking for. And that's how I got my scholarship for the UK. The route was pretty much same: approaching professor, having an interview, passing through the entrance exam, and getting the scholarship and applying for the visa yourself. That's pretty much it. Thank you for listening, and I believe in answering more when it comes to questions. So please feel free to ask. Yeah.
Thank you so much, ma'am. We do have some question in chat box. Let me read it for you.
Yeah.
Uh, Someone is asking how much GPA matters to study in Japan for MS.
So it's 2.30 out of 3 on the scale of Japanese criteria, but then it's 3.30 out of 4, if I'm not wrong, when it comes to Pakistani scale. But yeah, you have to calculate. It's pretty, tricky. I did not did it for myself. The university I applied for, they did it. It's very weird. I don't like doing these things. So my university professor, she told her secretary to do that since they wanted me in the lab. So thank God. How to approach the professor if you don't find any professor? How can help you for wait? How can you help you for applying to Japan? Honestly, finding a professor is very easy. The way I did it, I just wrote on a Google like top universities for natural language processing in Japan. Well, that's the basic prompt you can write, or depending on your field, top universities in civil engineering in Japan, blah blah blah. These kind of things you will write, and you will get the list of universities and apply for all those universities. Like, go to that university, then go to their laboratories or research section, and there you can see different professors, their profiles, and along with that professor you can see their name, their email, and their profile, as if their web page. Just go to that web page and you can literally find all the details there. So it's not difficult to find a professor, it's very easy. You can approach a professor from LinkedIn, but the thing is, if the professor agrees or accepts your invite, then why not? But don't spam them. People don't like those people who kind of spam them with the messages. So it's okay, you can approach them from LinkedIn, but I feel the more formal approach is to approach them from email, which is more formal, and this shows your will that you want to be in their lab, and it's a formal way of approaching a person. What things I should focus on if I am BS English first semester? Um, I think you also have some kind of thesis in BS English, so just focus on your thesis and make sure to choose a topic which is very unique and which is a lot, in discussion these days, so that if the professor is interested, he would kind of reply to you. I know somebody who is doing BS English in Fukuoka University, a friend of mine. She told me it's very difficult to get the scholarship when it comes to BS English, but it's possible. You can get a scholarship, that too MEXT scholarship, fully funded scholarship. Just look for a good topic and good research thesis, basically. I'm from the University of Education Award in my university. Professor don't collaborate with even.
Everyone, you can raise your hand. Everyone, you can raise your hand if you have any questions. And also, I have announcement. I have shared the Google form in the chat board, and please make sure to fill it to ensure your presence.
I'm sorry, I'm just taking a bit of time to read all your comments, but you can ask me in person. It would be much better. Yeah. University of Education or well, it's okay if your professor, like the professors, they don't want to collaborate with you. So that's okay. And if they do not have a culture of studying abroad, I don't feel that you need a professor to collaborate with you. You can collaborate within your like your lab, your members, your students, or you can ask somebody from LinkedIn who is in a relevant field if they would like to collaborate. That's what I do, or that's what most of the people do. A lot of people I have seen, they approach me. For example, they are in Pakistan and they want me to collaborate with them, and I'm more than happy with that. If they have a relevant or good topic, so you can approach somebody who is already in Japan or any other country, and if the topic is similar, they will be more than happy to collaborate with you. You do not need a professor to collaborate. So it's okay, you can look for any kind of researcher, any student who is already in the same field. Okay, how can we approach professor from LinkedIn? And it's pretty much the same. Just drop them the email kind of format through LinkedIn. So I'm in busy English 7th semester, have not done any research work yet. GPA is it possible? Well, yeah, it's possible to get the scholarship. I guess you do write thesis, right? If even if you are in BS English, so your thesis is the key. For my case, I had zero experience of research. It's just my final year project, which is more like a thesis you have to write. So with those theses, I was approaching professors. So it's okay if you do not have any research experience or any paper. That's completely fine. A friend of mine, as I said, has done BS, is doing a master's in English kind of field, English literature. So it's okay. You can get a scholarship. We have to approach professor of Japan or our university's professor if I want to apply it through. You have to approach the professor in Japan in order to get the letter of recommendation, not your university professor. Your university professor cannot help you with that. You have to approach the professor in Japan, in the university you want to get the admission. And if the professor agrees and give you a letter of recommendation, you got the scholarship. Honestly, getting the letter of recommendation means securing 90% of your scholarship. What are the topics for research you chose? I chose, so my field is AI, basically AI, computer vision, natural language processing. In bachelor's, my topic was paraphrase detection through text, and it was pretty high, like it was a pretty highlighting topic at that time, since like plagiarism and these kind of things are very common. So that's why maybe my professor was interested in my profile, the Japanese professor. But now I work on specifically healthcare and how we can use AI in healthcare and how we can train robots with our data and models. So it's a very AI relevant field. That's why I don't like to mention much about my field, because I believe different people are from different fields. So field should not matter. It's just you choosing a topic should be a priority. Choose a topic which is in talks these days. I'm a final year mechanical engineer student. Which time is best to apply for? Well, final year is the best time to apply. Start applying, because the process at least take 1 year or 6 months. So before graduating, if you will apply, you will get the time to, prepare the documents, and then from the time the scholarship will open, you will easily get the scholarship. I guess the scholarship was open and it's closed now. So you should have applied beforehand. Now you can apply next year. It's okay. We do have several terms like fall and then the spring, so you can apply time to time. You said we have to approach professor working on the lab, but here in my case I have to apply for masters in physics. And what does working on the lab actually means? It's here in my uni, we just focus on the theoretical concept and all. So we have to just discuss about these things. Yeah, yeah, of course. If so, lab basically means it's a very foreign concept. We do not have basically labs in Pakistan. We just know the concept of computer lab or these kind of labs. No, in labs, basically a professor, he has all the students in one room, and like in one room or in one a big department area. So they call it a lab. And it's okay even if you do not have any lab in Pakistan, or if your work is not research oriented, it's theoretical, it's okay. You can still approach a professor saying, oh, I want to do this kind of theoretical approach or research with you. So I guess if it's interesting, the professor would agree to give you LOR. Yeah, basically it's theoretical concepts and discussion. It's also a research if you make it extensive and if you study different kind of concepts. It should not be just technical or maybe training models, these things. No, it's not just that. My uni does not allow thesis at bachelor's level. Trying to publish a research paper will work, but it will take time. And I mean, it's okay if you do not have any thesis. You can look for your projects, bachelor projects. For example, in bachelor's, in 4 years, you have different subjects, and by the end of each subject, you do have some project. And I assume, because in my universities, UET Narwal, we do have some like projects after the end of each semester. So with that also you can approach a professor. My computer science to graduate, my final year project was in web development and it was just a simple system, did not include any AI model. Can I pursue further for MS with such kind of FIP? What would you like to suggest? um Honestly, web development is not bad, but considering nowadays everybody is looking for a touch of AI, if you can extend your project a bit and add a touch of AI, I feel you have a chance then. Or maybe even if you don't want to, pursue that particular field or forte anymore, just learn some, maybe just do some courses on AI or ML or these kind of fields, or software engineering. You might have studied software engineering since you were a computer science student. So maybe if you have studied software engineering or AI in during your studies, or some, if you have some semester project in that, using those you can also approach a professor. That should not be a problem. For my case as well, just my final year project was in NLP, but I did not had much experience or any kind of experience in AI. It's okay. I know a lot of people who are currently software engineers. So there are software engineering labs as well. There are different kind of labs. I had no idea that even in CS field we have like 15 or 50 kind of different labs. Software engineering, robotics, AI, ML, computer vision, cybersecurity. There are so many labs out there. In my university itself, we had like 20 labs. So the bigger universities, Tokyo or Kyoto universities, they have way more labs, and I had no idea like this kind of topic, like this kind of field can also be a lab itself, or a professor would be interested into. So you can look into different professors website, and based on that you can craft your research proposal even if you do not have experience. Just be confident during the interview. Just make sure that you are able to make them believe that you know things, but don't lie. Just learn about that through courses or things. I'm also working on AI in medicine. Can you please help me in this field? I'm fifth. Yeah, just drop me a message on LinkedIn. You're in your fifth semester. For sure, I'll be more than happy to help you with the AI in medicine field. If we have common interests, why not? I am mostly working on mental health, social media, and these kind of fields. But for sure, I'll be more than happy if you need guidance in final year project or in approaching a professor later on. Are these scholarships for masters in the field of? Yeah, of course. Mostly the scholarships are in the field of, are for the masters, but you can apply for bachelors as well. But it becomes very difficult, honestly, for the bachelor students. Most of the universities in Japan are in Japanese, so I believe it's better to go for masters and PhD. And also you can apply for any kind of field, honestly, for the MEXT scholarship. Even for sports or arts, field is not a problem. Just keep that in mind. That's why I don't like mentioning my field, because maybe people would think, oh my god, AI is a happening field, that's why she was able to secure a scholarship. But I have friends who are doing BBA, English literature, civil engineering, mechanical engineering, bioinformatics, or these kind of things, and they have the MEX scholarship. So field is not a problem. Approaching professor, knowing about how to approach a professor, or the knowledge of scholarship is important. So field is not a problem, and it should never be a problem. My LinkedIn profile, you can look into that. I'll share the slides, and you can easily look into that through the shared slides. I have mentioned my LinkedIn profile. So yeah. I guess I have answered all the questions. If you still have some questions, feel free to ask. Yeah, environmental science as well. Every field. Honestly, MEX supports all kind of field. If you open the MEX scholarship website, you will literally see sports, arts, technology, and all this, agriculture, everything. Well, yeah. Sorry. Yeah, telecom engineering as well. Field is not a problem, guys. Okay, you said we have to approach professor working on lab, but here in my case, I have applied for master's in physics and what does working in a lab actually means considering. So as I answered before as well, that if you do not have any research experience, that is okay, and working in a lab means that you are just doing your masters. You will take courses, you will take classes, but most of your time, so in my case, most of my time was research oriented, since my university was more like a research institute, but it goes ahead with university to university. And lab is basically a common place where all of the students from the same professor, they work there. So, for example, my professor, his name is Taro Watanabe, and we were like 80 students under his supervision, and we used to sit in the same place, and they call it a lab. So, and research is basically doing your work, which you are good at, taking the courses, completing your credits, and doing some projects. That's basically research. Does internship letter helps? um Not for the application process, but maybe in order to make sure that the professor believes you are a good candidate, you can show some relevant experience through your internships. But it's not a hard and fast rule. Honestly, I believe internships or publications, when you're applying for masters, that does not matter, since you are a very new student and just got out of university, or you are still in the university. So the professor does understand you do not have a knowledge of what actually the research is, and they're okay to teach you. It's just your will to show that you are the ideal candidate, along with your good GPA and your good communication with the professor regarding the topic you want to work on. Yeah, of course, you can apply. The maternity students, they can also apply for the scholarship. GPA does matter for MEXT scholarship. Your GPA should be more than 3.30, but there is another route. So it depends again if you would like to take that route, which is self-funding, but it's not self-funding completely. You do not have to fund yourself completely. Everybody is like, oh my God, she's saying about self-funding. A lot of people are like that. Sometimes when I do tell them, why don't you go for self-funding? Because I used to think that as well when I was in Pakistan, and I did not like spending my own money, at least for the educational purposes, and I don't want to spend my parents' money as well. So for the self-funding, what you do is you approach the professor if you have less GPA, and you can ask professor that, oh, I want to study in your lab. Can I, self-fund myself given my GPA is not enough? Once you go to that university, you will ask the professor to give you some funding from his funds. So every professor in Japan, they have some fund from university and different organizations, different companies. They can give you some amount as a stipend. Plus, you can apply for, once you are in Japan and in the university, you can apply for the scholarships. You can ask university to waive off your fee, and they do that. A lot of my colleagues, they were there as a spouse with their wife or their husband, and they went for education, for example PhD. A friend of mine, he went for PhD, and he got the waiver from the university. He did not had any MEX scholarship or anything. So you can easily get, waive off. The university can literally let go of your fees once you are there and you got the admission. You can learn a lot more about a lot of scholarships there. There's so many scholarships out there and people are not aware of it. Or maybe your professor can fund you completely, even if not through MEX scholarship. He feels you are a good candidate but you have less GPA. Still you can talk to the professor that if you have lab funds, can you fund me fund my funding, can you give me the stipend? And with that stipend you can save money for your fees, or you can go to university student affairs section and ask them if there is some scholarship for the under resourced countries, to apply for the fees waive off. And there are so many there, honestly. If I was not a MEXT scholar for PhD, if I was not able to pursue, like, my MEXT scholarship, or I was not able to extend my MEXT scholarship, I would have just applied for the self funding, and then it's easier to waive off that funding, since students are considered poor. So you do get that waiver from the university. Okay. Is it necessary to learn Japanese language, or we have to improve? You have to improve your English, but in Japan, not everybody can speak English as well. In my lab, people could speak English in my university, since my university had certain criteria for the English language. They have the requirement for even for the Japanese students, so it was easier for me to communicate. But then, if you are in a place where the people cannot speak English at all, you have to learn Japanese. But there is no hard and fast rule of learning Japanese. Speaking English should be fine. Your professor would be able to speak English, so that's not a problem. You can just easily communicate. For PhD, publication matters or not? It depends on field to field. For my field, for example, AI, computer science, or civil engineering, or these kind of fields, your publication does matter. But I agree. For example, AI and computer science field, we have more chances of publishing a paper. But for civil engineering, mechanical engineering, or bioinformatics, the publication is much difficult, since a friend of mine, he's working in mechanical or this kind of field, and he's like, oh my god, it's so difficult. After 3 years of PhD, he was able to publish one paper. So it goes ahead by field, and professor do know that it's difficult for different kind of fields. So if you have publication, that's a plus point. But if you do not have, it's okay. Just approach a professor with a very good way. That would be the good approach. Does GPA matter more than skill? Because I'm from fast. Um, yeah, it does matter for the scholarship. For the MEXT scholarship, you have to have a good GPA. Otherwise, you would not be able to secure the scholarship, even if you are from fast university. I was from UT Narrowal, but I had a good GPA, so I was able to secure a scholarship. But again, you can still approach the professor and ask them to give you the funding from the lab, if you believe you have the good skills or desired skills. And if the professor believes the same, you will be able to get the funding from professor, and then you can easily get there without having a good GPA. Japanese language proficiency is necessary for jobs there, because if I want to do the job alongside my masters, alongside your masters, well, this is also a very good option. If you are on self-funding, you can actually do jobs in Japan. A bit of Japanese language would be good. Skills would be good if you have a bit of knowledge of Japanese language, because as a student, we can work, I guess, 28 hours per week in Japan. I was not working because I had the stipend. It was sufficient, more than enough, honestly. But I do used to work like once in a month as an English teacher, which is an easy route for us. In Japan, they don't speak English in high schools or schools, and I used to work there as a English tutor, or you can say a mentor for the Japanese students, and it was a very fun job. You get to go to different places. I was in Nara, but then through this program, I used to go to Osaka, Hokkaido, or these kind of places of Japan, which was very happening and much fun. So you do not need Japanese skills. Even English would work. You can easily get English speaking jobs. For example, English teacher or somewhere as an interpreter. So that should not be a problem. MEX scholars, MEX scholarship, can we still apply now, as the embassy website shows the deadline was May 2025? No, you cannot apply now. But for the university recommendation, you can approach professor now. It's much better. And honestly, embassy recommendation route is very difficult. It's just like 2 or 3 seats for thousands of people or hundreds of people. So it's very difficult. But embassy university recommendation, it's way easier than embassy recommendation. Every university has a quota for Pakistani or less resource countries, so it becomes easier in that case. So for the university recommendation, you can Now, even now, you can approach professor and ask them for the letter of recommendation, and you can look into their websites when is the next hiring. IELTS is not mandatory. You can just, it depends on university to university. But again, in my case, I did the Duolingo one. Yeah, I went for the cheaper option. But yeah, you can give the IELTS, or you can ask the university to give you the letter stating that you have studied your 16-year or 18-year of education in English. The universities does accept that. Can you guide about how you moved to from Japan to UK? Yeah, I guess I did told that that how I moved from Japan to UK. So I was collaborating. I went to a conference in Italy. I had a paper. My paper was published there. So I went to Italy, and the professor Ravi Shekhar, he approached me when I was presenting my poster for the collaboration, and then we were working on some paper during the PhD openings of UK time. He told me like, Ikra, why don't you apply for the scholarships or for the UK PhD, UK based, PhDs. And then I told him, oh, I never thought about it because I already have a master's going on, and then I will just extend it to PhD, the MEXT scholarship. Then he told me like, maybe you should go ahead with it. And, the process was pretty much the same. Approaching the professor through email or LinkedIn, depends on you. But I believe email is a more formal one. So approach the professor through email, and then ask the professor if they want, like they're interested in your profile or not. If they would be, they will have an interview with you, and then you have to give the entrance exam, and that's pretty much it. The same route I followed for Japan was the same route I followed for UK, or maybe I was lucky enough. No idea about that. Okay. Hi ma'am, good GPA. Hey, the good GPA is 3.30 out of 4, and I believe nowadays even 3.30 is a very less GPA. During my time, my GPA was 3.5, and I was able to secure MEX scholarship. Then after like a year or two, a junior of mine applied with the GPA of 3.6. He got the letter of recommendation or everything, but then he couldn't get the scholarship. So maybe it's about luck as well, or about the topic you are choosing. Because the university, you send all your documents to the university, and then they will go through all the candidates profile, and based on the profiles they will choose the people. So it depends on the luck as well. I don't know how I got it, but maybe I was lucky enough with good GPA and good profile. Yeah, I guess. Do professor get approached for master studies as well? Yes, of course, they does. Ma'am, I have three conference paper in computer vision. Can you elaborate somehow I can secure the admission GPA with? Um, yeah, I mean, if you have 3.4 GPA, I think you are qualified to apply for the MEX scholarship. I guess you're applying. You want to apply for masters, um, undergrad level. Yeah. So computer vision, there are a lot of labs in Japan on computer vision. Just approach the professor with your profile stating your name, your university. Even if you don't want to mention university, that's okay. But there are some professors who looks into the university and the name, and for them the name and university does matter. In my case, for my professor, the university and the name was not important. My skills was important. But GPA is important, of course. Just drop them the email with all the publication names you have and their link. You would have them in the Google Scholar of yours, right? They would be showing in your Google Scholar. So mention the Google Scholar, your paper's name, and then your future topic you feel would be interesting for them. Just that. My BS degree with the 3.67 GPA, is it a good? Okay. Yeah, it's a good GPA. Just make sure when you are crafting email, it should be a very good. It should be in a very good format, and it should be very appealing. That's what I always say. Make your email appealing, and make sure the professor feels your work is interesting. So that's the only requirement. Ma'am, 3.0 GPA is good for MEX scholarship. I don't know if you would be eligible to apply for MEX scholarship or not with the 3.0 GPA. Yeah, but maybe you can apply, you can just approach the professor and ask them for the funding. That would be a route for you. And then once you are in Japan, you can do part time. If not, you can just ask the university, if there is some scholarship or waiver for us. Please give us some tips for the email. For the email, your body is basically three categories, three kind of paragraphs you have to write. In paragraph 1, you should write your name, your GPA, your university, and some information regarding the professor. Oh, I went through your profile. Like for the professor, you have to write, dear professor, I saw your lab and I feel these topics are very interesting, and your work you are doing is very interesting. And then in the second paragraph, you have to say that, this is the work I have done and I feel it resonates with your work, and I would be very happy if we can have a chat about how my work aligns with your work, and I would like to be a student in your under your supervision. These kind of things you have to write. And if you have some internships, then list them in the next paragraph, that you have past experiences by doing the internships. If you have some paper, mention those papers. And that's pretty much it. Can you share your contact with us through which we can clear our doubts? I guess I did mention my contacts here, but I will just copy paste. Yeah, that should be fine. Oh, okay. Okay, yeah, I have shared my contact. You can see my Google Scholar. You can see what kind of work I do in natural language processing. I do have experience in computer vision. So if somebody is up for the collaboration, I'll be more than happy with NLP, AI, and computer vision and healthcare. And then I have shared my LinkedIn and my website. It's not that happening, but I'll work on my website. I don't have time at the moment, but hopefully I'll work on it. Yeah, I guess that's pretty much it. Thank you everybody for asking the questions and making it so interactive.
Okay, so I think there are no more questions. So let's end our session. And in the end, first of all, we would like to extend our heartfelt gratitude to Miss Ikra Ali for sharing her incredible journey and invaluable sights. And your presence has been truly motivating, and we appreciate you taking your time from your busy schedule to inspire future scholars. We are also thankful to both SBS chapters IIUI and UET Texila for making this collaboration possible. With immense appreciation, we now conclude today's enlightening session. We hope to see you again in future programs. Until then, stay safe, stay ambitious, and thank you so much for joining. Allah Hafiz.
Allah Hafiz. No, don't use ChatGPT, please. Somebody has asked me in the chat, like they can use ChatGPT. No, the professors easily get the idea that ChatGPT was used. Don't use ChatGPT. Have a genuine idea. Bye. Okay, everybody. Bye bye.